It is the subject of memes, of entire comedy tracks and films, of numerous learned articles, books, and films, of debates, agitations, and even deaths. Tamil Nadu has a long history of opposing Hindi imposition. For any party that wants even a fighting chance in the state, resisting Hindi is important. Actor politician Vijay's recent statement is the latest example. The resistance to Hindi has been a defining force shaping its politics and governance for nearly a century. From Rajaji in the 1930s to Nehru in the 1960s to the current ruling dispensation at the center, that's all for one nation, one language, leaders have failed in their attempts to enforce the use of Hindi. The anti-Hindi agitation not only overthrew governments in Tamil Nadu but has also led to policy changes at the national level. Even today, the resistance remains strong, with only the state's BJP supporting the trilingual education policy that the Modi government is keen to enforce. Why the people of this state are resisting the compulsory use of Hindi in education is reasonably well known. The average Tamilian is very proud of their language. It's feared that mandating Hindi at school level would take away from Tamil, a classical language that's considered among the world's oldest. So let's see how the state has managed to maintain its two-language policy until now through agitations, martyrdoms, overthrowing governments, and more. The push for Hindi started in the 1920s when Mahatma Gandhi promoted teaching the language as part of a broader freedom movement. Women like Durgabai Deshmukh and Ambujam Ambal traveled to villages to teach Hindi. The initial effort did not face widespread resistance. The real opposition began in 1938 when Rajagopalachari, who was the then Prime Minister of Madras in British rule, made Hindi compulsory in schools. This move was met with fierce protests led by social reformers and political leaders like Dr. Dharmambal Ammayar and Periyar E.V. Ramasamy. The resistance grew rapidly, especially in Madras, where the Justice Party led large protests with support from all communities. The movement intensified after protesters Natarajan and Talamuthu died in police custody. Despite strong opposition, Rajaji stuck to his policy until his government resigned in 1939. After that, Governor Lord Erskine revoked the Hindi order in 1940. After independence, Hindi was reintroduced in schools, and this time the agitation saw the rise of new leaders, C Annadurai and M Karunanidhi, both of whom played significant roles in shaping the Dravidian movement and later on became the chief ministers of Tamil Nadu. In 1949, Annadurai broke away from Periyar to form the DMK. From 1949 to 1967, the DMK led strong campaign against Hindi. While many groups fought for Tamil rights, the DMK became the leading force in the anti-Hindi movement. Ironically, Rajaji, who was once a supporter of Hindi in schools, later joined the DMK in opposing its imposition in the 1960s. The next important anti-Hindi agitation in Tamil Nadu happened in the 1960s. The 60s was an active period all over the world. There were many student-led uprisings from anti-war protests in the US to socialist revolutions in Europe. And Tamil Nadu saw a massive youth-led movement against Hindi imposition. It peaked in 1963 when the DMK called for the direct action. Annadurai was arrested on November 16 for allegedly planning to burn Part 17 of the Constitution, which promoted Hindi as India's sole official language. On January 25, 1965, Annadurai was arrested again before a planned protest. According to government estimates, during the 2 weeks of the riots, about 70 people were killed. The Congress government tried to deal with the agitation as a law and order problem and brought in paramilitary forces. The violence spread, colleges were shut down, and the situation escalated to the point that the union government had to step in. Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri finally assured Tamil Nadu that English would remain as an associate language. The impact of the 1965 anti-Hindi agitations was significant. In the 1967 elections, the Congress party, which had ruled the state for decades, was defeated and the DMK, led by Annadurai, formed the government. This was the first time a Dravidian party took power in Tamil Nadu. Since then, the state has exclusively seen Dravidian rule. The protests of the 1960s also influenced national policy. The Official Languages Act of 1963 ensured the continued use of English alongside Hindi rather than making Hindi the sole official language. The 1968 Language Resolution further mandated the promotion of regional languages listed in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. When the DMK came to power, it introduced a two-language policy involving Tamil and English, thereby rejecting the central government's three-language system. Since then, successive DMK and AIDMK governments have strictly adhered to the two-language policy. The state has consistently opposed Hindi in education, administration, and competitive exams. Even in recent years, the AIADMK government under Edappadi K. Palaniswamy and later the DMK under MK Stalin have strongly opposed any move to impose Hindi. The anti-Hindi agitation of Tamil Nadu is one of the longest-running linguistic movements in India. What started as a protest against a language policy transformed into a political revolution, redefining the state's governance. Given this history, this battle is far from over.